Ezra wasn't exactly thrilled to be spending the school holidays at Grandma's house in the countryside. There was no Wi-Fi, no pizza delivery, and definitely no superhero movie marathons. But at least his cousins were coming too. Lana, who always had a plan, and Tolu, who always had snacks. The moment they tumbled out of the car, Grandma wrapped them in her flowery hugs that smelled like cinnamon and garden soil. Shoes off at the door, and if anyone finds a frog in the kitchen again, please ask it politely to leave, she said with a wink. After sandwiches the size of small pillows and 2 cups of growing tea, Grandma's mysterious blend of mint and mystery, the kids dashed outside to explore. Grandma's backyard was the size of a small jungle, with twisty trees, sunflowers taller than Ezra, and exactly 400 bees doing whatever bees do. And then they saw it. At the very end of the garden, half hidden behind a rose bush with more attitude than manners, stood a shed. Not just any shed. This one looked ancient. Vines curled around its corners like sleepy snakes, and the wood was faded from sunlight and secrets. Even more exciting, it was locked. The padlock on the door looked like it belonged in a pirate movie. Rusty, heavy, and just mysterious enough to whisper, "Something interesting lives inside me." Lana crouched dramatically, pretending to inspect it like a detective. "This," she declared, "is no ordinary shed." Tolu shook his snack bag. "What if it's full of treasure? Or snakes?" Ezra grinned. "Or a treasure guarded by snakes?" Just then, Grandma appeared behind them, holding a watering can shaped like a chicken. "Oh, that old thing?" she said, eyeing the shed. "Just a bunch of dusty garden tools and dried-up flower pots. Nothing exciting." But there was something in the way her eyes twinkled, like she'd just heard a really good joke and wasn't telling the punchline. "Can we go inside?" Lana asked. Grandma smiled. "Maybe later. It's been locked up for years. Now, who wants to help me chase the squirrels off my tomato patch?" That evening, after dinner and a game of who can sleep the longest, Ezra lost immediately. The kids sat on the bunk bed whispering like expert whisperers. "She definitely knows what's in that shed," Lana whispered. "And I bet it's not just flower pots." "What if it's where she hides all her real cookies?" Tolu asked, scandalized. Ezra looked at the ceiling, thoughtful. "Tomorrow," he said slowly, "we begin Operation Unlock the Shed." Lana nodded. "We'll need disguises, snacks, and maybe gloves." "Why gloves?" Tolu asked. Lana answered with wide eyes. "In case the snakes are real." Ezra laughed quietly and rolled onto his side. Outside the window, the setting sun peeked through the clouds, shining a soft purple-orange light on the vine-covered shed at the edge of the garden. It waited, quiet and mysterious, like it was holding its breath. And the adventure hadn't even started yet. The next morning, the sky decided it was in a mood. Thunder grumbled like a sleepy lion. Rain tap-danced on the windows, and the garden turned into a squishy, muddy jungle. Operation Unlock the Shed was officially postponed. "Ugh," Lana groaned, her nose pressed to the window. "Rain is rude." "We could play hide-and-seek again," Ezra suggested, sprawled dramatically across Grandma's patchwork couch. "We already found Tolu inside the laundry basket twice," Lana muttered. "I regret nothing," Tolu said, munching a peanut butter cracker. Grandma shuffled into the room, her slippers making soft, shuff-shuff sounds on the floor. "If you're looking for an adventure," she said, "the attic hasn't been explored in years. Might be dusty, might be boring, but there's a flashlight in the kitchen drawer if you're feeling brave." Challenge accepted. 10 minutes later, armed with a flashlight, 2 scarves tied like explorer headbands, and Tolu's trusty snack bag, they creaked their way up the attic stairs. The air smelled like old stories and lavender. A single dusty window let in just enough light to make everything look a little spooky, but also exciting. Boxes were stacked like mini mountains, and everything was covered in a fine coat of fluff that made Tolu sneeze 5 times in a row. "Start digging," Lana said, already elbow deep in a box labeled Summer 1984. Ezra opened a trunk and pulled out a paint-stained apron with the name Rita stitched on it in loopy handwriting. "Isn't Grandma's name Rita?" he asked. "Yep," Lana said, tugging out a pile of old gardening catalogs. "And I think she used to be some kind of plant wizard." Tolu held up a wooden sign that read, "Flower Power, Petunias, Pansies, and Positivity," in glittery letters. But it was the photo that made them all freeze. Ezra picked it up slowly. It was a little faded, the edges curled, but there was no mistaking who it was. Grandma, standing in front of a flower-covered booth, holding a giant blue ribbon. Her apron looked just like the one in Ezra's lap, and her smile was as wide as the sunflower behind her. "She looks kind of famous," Tolu whispered. "Maybe she used to run a flower business," Lana asked. Ezra looked at the photo, then at the dusty garden catalogs and broken tools. Maybe the shed wasn't just for tools. Maybe it was her workshop. Lana's eyes lit up. But why lock it up and never talk about it? No one had an answer. They sat for a moment in the soft attic. Quiet, surrounded by clues and cobwebs and the sound of rain pattering on the roof like a secret drum. Tolu finally said, "We have to open that shed." Ezra nodded. "And find out what happened." Just then, the floor creaked loudly. Grandma's voice floated up the stairs. "Anyone up there sneezing in my old hats?" "Definitely not," Lana called, quickly stuffing the glitter sign behind her. They climbed down a few minutes later, slightly dustier, a lot more curious, and carrying one very important photo. Outside, the shed waited. And now they knew. It had stories to tell,